Welcome to the show. Welcome to Your Thought Life podcast. I am your host, Michael Anderson. Today we're going to be discussing how being too bossy can stop good ideas. Over the years, working in the tech space and in management for greater than 25 years, what I've come to understand is that one of the principal reasons why good people dislike their job is because of their managers. And it's this element that we're talking about today that is just one additional proverbial nail in the coffin for the employee who desires to have an idea, a stake, if you will, in a particular decision, project, or directive. But because the boss is so bossy, he or she is unable to give in a manner that would be conducive to a good outcome. I want to tell you that I am a strong proponent of leadership, right? Good leadership does not have to be critical, though. If in fact we're not careful as leaders, our drive to lead can unintentionally silence the creativity of our teams. It reduces engagement, creating silos, and kills the very innovative component that literally comes with having so many members on a team. So we're going to talk about how to lead without smothering the team, without that micromanagement component. And I'm going to give you some suggestions on how to turn this around with some science-backed strategies that shift you away from C to C, command and control, to more of a coaching and collaborative model where you can literally get the best out of your employees. Before we sort of break down some of the tactics that you can begin deploying as a result of this podcast episode, I do want you to understand that being too bossy has significant additional drawbacks other than those that we've already made mention of. The so-called overly directive leader creates what psychologists call learned helplessness. Learned helplessness comes into existence where people stop offering input because they assume it won't matter. That is a significant issue. A study from Harvard Business School found that the teams with autocratic leaders generated 40% fewer creative ideas than those with collaborative leaders. I think here the statistics most certainly are on the side and do favor the coach and collaboration model far more so than the autocratic model when you're speaking to them from a position of authority. That model has its place, but not in the day-to-day operations. When your team feels like their ideas aren't welcome, they disengage naturally. And get this, you as the leader miss out on diverse insights that could take your business, your plan, your approach to the next level. So if there's an opportunity, and in most day-to-day operational settings, there is an opportunity for you to be much more in the coaching and collaborative model than the command and control model. If you're able to do this, it's going to set you up very nicely for these. It's going to set you up so that you're able to capitalize on all of that brain power to create the absolute best plan and one that creates the outcomes that are important to the business. Now, let's start to unravel some of the things that we can do to change or to morph out of this bossy mode and into this more collaborative coaching mode. And this is number one: ask more than you tell. Start your meetings with questions like, what do you think we should do? And be quiet after you've said that. And if there's a little bit of a long silence, allow that. Sometimes people just need space and time to think through what it is they want to share. Don't be quick to interject. Or, here's another question: how would you approach this? Be quiet, just like I just did. And what you'll find by starting out like this, asking more than you tell and waiting for the team to engage, is, according to neuroscience, being asked for input activates the brain's reward center. This increases naturally within the participant's motivation and ownership. Number two, you have, as a leader, to ensure that you are creating psychological safety. Google's Project Aristotle found that the number one factor in high-performing teams is psychological safety. The belief that you won't be punished or judged or retaliated against for speaking up. In fact, it also suggests that speaking up is highly encouraged in this particular organization and rewarded. By doing so, you build that by listening without interruption, validating input, and encouraging dissenting opinions is okay. This is something that we do with a left and a right boundary. It doesn't get emotional. It doesn't get personal. We're just having, if you will, a technical discussion, perhaps a logistical, administrative, whatever space you work in. We're just challenging until we come into harmony about how we can do this with the lowest amount of energy, level of effort for the greatest outcome. Number three, give the why, not the how. I learned this early on in my managerial career. Coming from the armed services, it was very natural for me to bring in the why because of the authoritative nature of the armed services. Leaders bring the plan, share it with the team, and then we go execute. It's just the opposite in the corporate space. You want to explain the purpose behind a decision or a task, but let the team figure out the method. That creates opportunity for buy-in, that collaboration that we've been talking about, and the bossy element is moved completely out of the equation. Moreover, it builds autonomy, which the self-determination theory in psychology links directly to higher engagement and performance. So we see that neuroscience and psychology are showcasing for us in these first three suggestions merits for why we ought to begin doing this immediately. Number four, celebrate ideas, not just the outcomes. Make it a habit to praise people for suggesting ideas, even if they don't all get implemented. Recognition reinforces the behavior you want to see, which is it is okay for you to share. Sharing is encouraged, even if you have an opposing view than the one that is on the table. When you consistently encourage your team, you will find that you will get consistent contribution. It's just a matter of time. If you haven't been practicing your leadership style in this manner, then it's not going to be immediate. You're going to have to, over time, build into this because maybe there's some damage that you have to contend with. Perhaps there's some members who have been scarred that are bringing some baggage into the team construct. You've got to break all of that stuff down and create this environment that's conducive for this level of engagement. Finally, use power with, not power over. What's this mean? I would like for you to consider shifting your language from "I need you to" "let's figure this out together." When you start or lead with "I need you to," you're back in that autocratic mode. You're in that C to C. You're in that command and control mode. We don't want you there. We want you in the coach and collaborative mode. And therefore, by removing "I need you to" and replacing it with "let's figure this out together," now you're not barking. You're not suggesting that it must be done this way. What you're saying is, we have an issue and together we need to figure it out. That's received completely different that's received completely different to an individual contributor or a team member than "I need you to." Leadership is not about having all of the answers either. The more that we can get comfortable with leaning on our teams to help us do what needs to be done for our discipline, the better the team construct and the greater our level of efficacy as a leader. Leadership is about creating space where the best answers can emerge, and this is our responsibility as leaders to create an environment that allows this to flourish at all times. If you've ever caught yourself thinking, "Why won't my team step up more?" This might be the time for you to sort of take a step back and do some introspection and reflection. See if you are already doing any of these 5 elements. And if you're not, begin doing those, one at a time until you get all of them implemented into your typical team strategy. Also, ask yourself, are you leading with authority or are you leading with openness? As a quick recap, we don't want to lead in with "you need to." We want to lead in with "let's figure this out together." We've gone from what they feel you are telling them to do to what they feel they are now a part of for a solution. And then remember this also, your role as a leader isn't to have every single good idea. It's just not the way it works. You are to facilitate the discussion to help the team arrive at the best idea. To the extent that you make room for great ideas to surface, you will see that happen more and more often. So, let's create environments where innovation thrives, where people feel heard, and where leaders and leadership lifts everyone to the next level. Thank you so much for joining me today. Do consider subscribing and leaving a review. Helps us tremendously to broaden our reach to others seeking this style of content. Feel free to connect with us on Linktree. The link is available in the show notes. I want to remind you that you are enough, you can do it, and you are uniquely equipped to realize your goals. Until next time, take care and let's not be a bossy boss.